Hi everybody, I'm back. I managed to do a bag today. It was a little torturous for me because it took me a long time to figure out what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And collage really isn't my thing as much as I would love to be able to do it. I've just never got the knack for it. And then just a few minutes ago I was like, you know what, I should have just thought of it like a scrapbook page. But yeah, I'm okay with it for my first one. I was fortunate to have some of the awesome brown packing paper that that Roseanne had talked about in her tutorial. So I did use that. I couldn't just do it plain and simple. I had to do a little bit of pleat on the sides. So that took me a little bit of time to figure out, but I got it. So for the background, I used paper from the Recollections Botanical Noel stack, and I actually scanned the page because it's just a 4x6 stack. Scanned it so I could enlarge it a little bit and get it in there. It's there. And then this is another page from the stack, and it just distressed the edges, tore the edges on the background. Distress the edges on these, and I used some of I think it was the linen. It's a green one. Of course, I put it away and didn't write that one down. I used the bundled sage on the edges. Wanted to go a little more classic Christmas colors on this, just for the heck of it. Then I decided to try my hand at modeling paste, and of course I didn't have any stencils to use or masks to use, so I tried to create my own using I used the Tim Holtz Elegant Flourishes die, and I had some, it's like report cover plastic. I thought I had a piece here, yeah. It's a little bit sturdier. I had a scrap from work. But it's a little bit thicker than what you would get in Office Depot. But I didn't back it or anything, so it was still a little bit flimsy. So first, I tried it up here, and I made such a mess, I had to scrape it off and then cover what was left. But I really, really wanted to try to get some texture in there. So I tried it again down here using the same one. It didn't come out clean at all because it was still just a little too flimsy. But I played some more later on to try to get that down, and I'll go into that after the bag. So I covered it and covered up the first mess with a doily and one of the sweater flowers. And I just had some stems that I had gotten from the dollar store. So I took some of the berries and the leaves and back that, and a little bit of sparkly, teeny tiny red trim. I had actually gotten this at a yard sale. And then finished that off with a little bit of bling, a vintage earring there. And another little spray here. And for the little sweater rose, because I wasn't quite happy with it, I just topped that off with one of my porcelain clay flowers. And then I took a little tag from the Graphic 45 Christmas Emporium collection. I think that was last year's holiday collection. And again, distressed the edges and used the bundled sage on that. And I looped a piece of the sparkly red beading back behind this and brought it through the tag. So there's a little bit of motion there. And then I stamped just a couple little snowflakes on it, and had this little Recollections pearl trim there. And I had gotten, this is vintage velvet, this green strip here, and covered it with some more vintage. Well, before that I just put some gathered lace along the bottom, and then I had this vintage piece of trim here that I put on there. I thought the colors tied in really well with the paperwork, with the papers that I used. And then I spritz some of the Lindy's Cactus Gold Glitz Spritz on it. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. But it's on there, and I got it on the berries a little bit here. So, I mean, for the first time, yeah, I guess I'm okay with it. Definitely learned some things, and haven't done the back yet. Probably should have done that first, but of course I was anxious to get something done with it, and I didn't have to want to wait all day for it to dry before I could move on to the front. So I think I'm just going to back it with this, and this is from the DCWV Heirloom Christmas Collection. So I'll cut that down and put that on probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use to tie it closed with yet. But all in all, it was a learning experience. It was fun. Maybe next time it won't take me quite as long. But what I learned on making my own stencils, I had thought about, going ahead and doing the die cuts and scanning them, and trying to put them through, cut them on my Cameo, but it's actually buried right now, so so I didn't want to go through all that. So knowing that the plastic by itself wasn't going to work, and the fact that it was entirely clear, so it was hard to see and work with, I then took a piece. After I finished all this, because I wanted to figure out what I was doing, took a piece of it and a piece of cardstock, and I sprayed some repositionable adhesive onto the cardstock and laid the plastic down, smoothed it very firmly, let it sit for a few minutes, and then ran it through my Big Kick using the Tim Holtz die again. Got the pieces out, so now I actually have a couple of shiny pieces that I can use as embellishments if I want to. And the mask itself, much sturdier, and can see what you're doing with it. And I did do a practice, and that is so much nicer, and I wish it had come out like that on the bag. But lesson learned, and lesson in patience, which I don't have a whole lot of when I'm crafting. So then I wanted to try some other dyes to see if it would work, and I tried plain transparency film too, that you put through the printer, and of course it's thin. But again, backing it with cardstock. But I wanted to see if other dyes would work also. So first I tried Spellbinder's Shapeability, and this is with the heavier plastic. And it could start to come out. I could fiddle with it with a pair of detail scissors, but even if you do that, the detail scissors, you're not going to get the smooth curves getting into those tight corners working on plastic. So that's what brought me to the transparency film. And that's that. And it worked okay, but I probably should have used a little bit of the spray adhesive on the back. And that way I could have had some really crisp, clear edges. And then I tried one of the Sizzix Sizzlits die. I mean, this is what I really wanted to use initially, but it just wasn't working. The first attempt, I probably threw it out. You could see the design on the plastic, but it did not cut it at all. So then I figured, okay, let's try it with the paper backing and see if the paper gives it a little bit of tooth to grab. Did the same thing. So it just did not cut through that plastic. So then I tried with the transparency film, And yes, it did cut through, but not entirely. A lot of punching, and I ended up ripping it. So the Sizzlets die not working so well. So it seems like to do this, you want some type of chunky die like this that's going to have a blade that's going to cut through deeply or come up and get through it. So I have a few of those I'll play with. I'm sure I'll be using this this particular one the most. And I did find also, I just had a damp paper. I did the modeling paste on the plastic side, and I used a dry paper towel to wipe it off. I mean, there's still a little bit of residue in there, but I'll definitely get a few uses out of this, and you know, it costs almost nothing to use it. So if it's one you're going to use a lot, then that could be a nice little money-saving way to get yourself some stencils and masks to use. I figure for this one, I did use the Spellbinders again with the transparency film, and this is what punched out, so this could make a great mask, you know, doing spraying or painting or something, you know, whatever you're working on. And the plastic coating, you just wipe it off. So, learned a couple things today. So, all was not wasted. The bag again, I'm okay with it since it is my first attempt. I think I would probably be much happier with it if I either hadn't done the modeling paste, or if I had practiced with it some first before actually trying to do it on the bag. So that's it for now. Probably won't get back, gosh, probably not before Christmas. So if I don't, I hope everybody has an awesome holiday, safe holiday. Hopefully everybody's able to be with loved ones for the holiday. Yeah, especially after things that have been happening not too far away in the last few days. It's just incredibly horrible, and my sympathy certainly goes out to the families in Connecticut for their losses. It's just been absolutely unbelievable. So definitely, if you're with your loved ones, enjoy the time with them. Give everybody hugs and kisses, and you know, just be grateful that you have each other. And for all us YouTube friends, I'm grateful to have all of you and be getting to know you. And again, have an absolutely wonderful, fantastic, happy holiday season. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.